Hey guys, hold on a second. I am just getting set up here. First thing I want to check out, guys, if somebody could let me know how my audio sounds today. I'm trying out a new audio mixer on my laptop instead of going through the camera. So I want to see how we're doing now on audio. So if you guys could let me know. Mark's watching while playing Battleship. Oh, I love Battleship. That's pretty cool. Let me know on the audio, guys. Audio sounds great. Juanita says audio sounds good. Hopefully it's better than yesterday. We had some kind of an issue with the camera. I think it's the automatic gain control in the camera. What it's doing, it's picking up the background noise and amplifying it. And it was kind of drowning me out. So yeah, everybody's saying that audio sounds good. Perfect. Okay, what we did yesterday, we had a little bit of a discussion about sorting and selecting breeders, and I kind of went over my process for doing that and what I look for and what I don't look for. But I had a few people contact me through Messenger last night and today, saying that a lot of the stuff that I was talking about was, I won't say way over their head, but it was a little bit too far advanced for where they're at in their quail operation. I did take down yesterday's video because I went back and I listened to it, and the audio was pretty bad, so I really didn't want that on the channel being as bad as it was. But what I want to do today, we're going to kind of stay on that same topic, but what I want to do with you guys is, if you would, comment in the chat room how you guys go about selecting your breeders and your thoughts on clean lines versus mixed lines, and if it even matters. And then we'll kind of go from there. Just kind of have a discussion back and forth on what we do. I am going to, in the future, I'm going to do like a hands-on, not a demonstration, but more like a display. I don't have birds right now that I would be culling, so I can't do it today, but I've got a bunch of birds that are in the brooder right now. I've got some more in the house in the brooder, and when they get a little bit older and I actually go through and start culling out some of them birds, I'll actually do like a hands-on and show you guys my method of culling and what I'm looking for. And stuff like that. But I'm going to real briefly, for the new people here that didn't see last night's live, just basically go over real quick what we talked about yesterday. Basically, the way I look at selecting breeders now differs a lot from what it did back, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. Back then, I was mainly into meat and egg production, and I didn't really care a whole lot about genetics. I didn't care a lot about coloring on birds. All I worried about was if my birds were making weight and were they laying decent sized eggs. But I spent a little bit of time working with a couple people who are really into genetics, and I'm trying to increase my knowledge on genetics. I am very far away from understanding everything there is. I'm probably just about the same spot you guys are at, or most of you guys at. So, but what I decided to do was, because there's so much involved in identifying the different mutations, and especially when you start stacking those mutations on birds, that I decided I was going to start from the very bottom, and I was going to clean up my base colors. And the bases that I'm cleaning up are going to be Pharaoh, Fawn, and EB. I do have a couple other projects that I'm working on just because I really like them, and that is Pansy and Calico, but that's not going to be part of my base cleanup project. I'm also working on cleaning up diluters and pattern modifiers like Rue, Fee, and Sparkly. And what I plan to do with those is, once I've got my bases cleaned up, and this is probably going to be an ongoing project, it's going to take a year or better just to get the bases straightened up. I plan on using my clean modifiers to breed back in with the bases. That way I know exactly what I've got. When I say I've got Rosetta, they are all Rosetta. Or if I say I've got Manchurians, they are 100% Manchurian. Manchurian should breed true, so if you were to get eggs from me, they should hatch out 100% Manchurian. They should also breed 100% Manchurian. I mentioned last night that I'm not really interested in the whites, like the recessive whites, or any of the tuxedo varieties. I'm not going to go into why I'm not interested in them, but I want to work with those three lines that I told you about earlier. But anyhow, what I was saying is, once you have the bases clean and the diluters and pattern modifiers, then you can create your secondary colors. What I mentioned yesterday was the way I look at this whole genetics thing is my bases are my primary colors. So if you're an artist, you look at your primary colors. Then you can take your primary colors and you can mix and come up with your secondary colors. Now, I know it's not going to work exactly like it does with colors, but that's the way I think about it. It just kind of makes it a little bit easier for me. So that's kind of like my plan is clean up the bases, clean up my diluters and pattern modifiers, and then start working on secondary lines and secondary colors. The one thing that we also talked about that I think is very important is conformity. And that's one of the biggest things that I changed since getting more into genetics and getting further away from, I'm not going to say I'm getting further away from meat and egg lines, but that's not my main concern right now. And conformity is the thing that I look for first when I'm selecting birds. I'm going to bring up a graphic. This graphic was put out there by Tamara Roselle, and she goes over what you want to look for when you are selecting a bird that conforms to the physical standards that you want in your line. You could look for colors first or weight first, but the problem is if you get conformity first, getting your color and weight is simple. That comes second. If you're worried about weight first and you go for your biggest weight, if you don't have conformity or you don't have that physical appearance, it's going to be very difficult to get. Now, there's also another page on here. This page is conformation faults. These are the things that you want to breed out of your line as far as getting your conformity correct. Let's see, some of the stuff like too short of a neck, cross beak, or an overgrown beak, issues with the eyes, wry neck obviously, keel bone defects often accompany back, pelvis, and or other leg faults. So yeah, there's a lot of things. This graphic, guys, is available on Coturnix Corner Facebook group page. I believe it's in the files section. So if you guys are interested in that, go over there and check that out. But let's see, what else was there that I went over? Like I say, I'm skipping over a lot of stuff that I did yesterday just because I don't think that it's going to be prevalent to a lot of people who aren't interested in genetics or breeding for color. One thing I do want to say though about color, it was told to me that color is a personal preference. So you can, just say you have Italians or pansies. And I mentioned last night that I was talking with Klaus Marshall a couple weeks back, and we were talking about pansies, and I asked him, what patterning does he look for, and how he likes his pansies to look. And he said he likes his pansies with a lot of black, a lot of definition, and my I won't say perfect pansy, but my ideal pansy is kind of opposite of what he's looking for. I like a pansy that is a little bit lighter, doesn't have as much black, kind of more like a mottled pattern, I guess, on the back. So color is basically personal preference. We also mentioned that there is no standard of perfection for quail. So we have been depending on the people who have been doing this for a long time. There's a lot of genetic experts out there. Tamara Roselle, Katie Agali, Martin Yardley, Dana Manchester, William Carl Foster, Klaus Marshall, Allie from Maine's Confetti Quail Farm. They are all people that they could look at a bird, and no matter how many mutations are stacked on there, somehow they can figure it out. I can't see it, and I guess that's why I kind of want to go back to the basics and get my bases down, and then I'll add one mutation on it, and I'll have an idea what it looks like when it hatches out, what it looks like when it's a grow out, and what it looks like as an adult. And hopefully, if my old brain will keep all this straightened out, I'll be able to identify the birds too. But anyhow, as far as color, I think color is a personal preference. If you're breeding, whatever color variation or mutation, and you like the color and you want to keep breeding for that color, to me, in my eyes, that's perfectly fine. I think that as long as you're honest when you go to sell eggs, if you sell hatching eggs, you let the people know that you're selling to, say, hey, my Rosettas don't look like everybody else's Rosettas. I kind of like this or I kind of like that, and that's what I breed for in my stock. As long as you're honest with them, I don't see how that could possibly be a problem. And also be honest about your lines as far as genetics in your lines. If you understand the genetics in your lines, if your lines are mixed, with other stuff, let people know that. It's getting very hard. I put a post up this morning on Coturnix Corner Facebook asking if anybody had clean EB that did not have Celadon in it. And after a little while, I actually reworded the post because I didn't know if people understood what I meant by clean EB. So I reworded it to say I am looking for Rosettas or Tibetans that are non-Celadon carriers. And I got very few responses. It's kind of funny. I'm sure if I would have said I'm looking for Rosettas or Tibetans and that was it, I would have got a ton of responses. But I also wouldn't have known what I was getting. So I noticed earlier too that Katie Agali commented on it and said I didn't realize that it was that difficult to find clean EB or non-Celadon carriers EB. So that was just kind of a fun little test that I did this morning. And I am looking for, non-cellular on EB if anybody out there has them. So, okay, that's enough out of me. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the chat room. Like I said, guys, if you would comment on how you go about selecting your breeders and what's important to you, and what clean lines versus mixed lines mean to you, or if it even matters. I think that would kind of go along with what we're talking about here. And as far as the live stream that we had planned for yesterday that got totally ruined, I'm going to redo that one. I'm going to rewrite it, try to figure out the best way to present it to you guys, and we'll actually be pulling out birds, showing you what I'm looking for in birds, showing you birds that have faults. If I could find some, I've got to wait for some more to hatch or some more to grow out. But yeah, look for stuff that I'm looking for, stuff that I want to get rid of, and that'll give you a little bit better idea. And that'll be down the road. So let me go back to the top here. Mohammed says salute. I don't know what salute is. I guess that's hello, salutations, I guess. Tony says hi from Toronto. Hi, Tony. Susan Kruger's in the house. Hi. Susan's from Michigan. Genuine Toe Tag says, did yesterday's video get taken down? It did, and that's because of the audio issues with the video. I just didn't want people to stumble across that video and say, wow, Coturnix Corner has really bad videos. So yes, it was removed. Juanita Fields is in the house, says hi. And she is from Jacksonville. Peg P is hello from California. Welcome, Peg. Mark Wilson's in the house. Hello, yo. I think I was working with Mark earlier on Messenger. Valerie Cox is in the house, says hey, y'all. Kerwin Smith says hey. Lauren, our moderator, is in the house. Good evening, all. Travis says, good evening, everyone. Hope you are all doing well from up here in northern Minnesota. Welcome. Kerwin Swift says, cut all the pieces to make the 3-tier cage today. Damn plywood is too expensive. Going to wait on that. Thanks, Jerry, for the design. Absolutely. Yeah, I did notice I was up to Home Depot yesterday, I think it was. Yeah, day before yesterday. And it's actually starting to come down here. It's still overpriced compared to the way where it was, but it is coming down a little bit. Jeff Martin says, hey, y'all. And by the way, I did spend 90% of today underneath my truck. Oh, man. I'm having some issues with vacuum lines that run down to the transfer case to a switch. I wasn't getting vacuum. Well, I'm not going to go into all that. But anyhow, those vacuum lines were old and degraded. And, oh, Lord, it took me forever to get them out of there. And now I got to go up tomorrow, buy the new vacuum lines and replace them. So, Jeff Hardy says hello from NC, Ohio, North Carolina, Ohio. I don't know what that means. Susan says, how much snow did y'all have? Just wondering. I'm in Jackson, Michigan, 13 inches. Wow. I have family in just outside of Grand Rapids. I hope they didn't get that much. Christian B says, hi, everyone. Let's see. Victoria Taylor says, hello, everyone. My first batch of quail eggs arrived today. Congratulations. Wish me success. Thanks. Yeah, you'll do fine. Get them in the cooker, and they're really, as long as your incubator is, relatively stable, hatching out Coturnix chicks is very simple. Lauren says 2 feet everywhere, higher in the drifts here in northwest Pennsylvania. Says good luck, Victoria. Susan says good luck. Mark says upstate New York, 14 inches at 0 degrees tonight. You guys can keep it. Aha, Mark from the La Rochelle farm is in the house. Hello, folks. Welcome, Mark. Glad you can make it. Victoria Taylor, cages at a bad time. Any ideas to cut cost? Victoria, I would build, if they'll work for you, these wire cages are pretty inexpensive to build. I spent just over $500 to buy a couple rolls of wire, and I have 15 individual cages, and I still have, wire left out back. So Harley's Game Birds and More says hi, everyone. Welcome. Steve Dave's in the house from Hoosier Land. There, Lauren says, build the all-wire ones. Terry has a video somewhere. Or get scrap wood. Yeah, if you can find scrap wood, that works out really well. I had one guy said he built one out of pallets, but I don't know how he cut them. I mean, most pallets, I believe, are made out of oak, and that's pretty hard wood. Tim says, hey everyone, happy Saturday from Michigan. Mark says he's watching while playing Battleship with his 9-year-old. Oh, I'm going to kick his butt. Okay, Lauren saying audio is much better than last night. I am glad to hear that. Also, guys, I have my iPad over here too, so I can actually watch the comments in real time over here. Because on the laptop that's doing the streaming, I have to go back up to the top of the comments to start reading down. But I can just every once in a while glance over here and see what if there's anything new that popped up that I need to know. Dave Thurston says hello from Giles County, Tennessee. Okay, audio is great. I'm going to skip over all that. Excellent. Sounds good. In the rabbit holes in the house, it sounds good. Bags of Love's in the house, his audio sounds good. Dave Thurston's in the house. Victoria Taylor's, I already read that. Kerwin Smith says, I'm just getting started and have only just started thinking about breeding for particular features, learning lots. That's great. Yeah, it'll come. I mean, as you've, been keeping quail for a while, your interest will, sometimes it depends, on what you want them for, but your interests usually expand into some of the other lines and whatnot. And if you're breeding for jumbos, just keep in mind that you can make any line a jumbo. It's just, a matter of selective breeding. Okay, Lauren says, I'm breeding for jumbo Fab Fee Celadons. Criteria, working on getting 100% homozygous Fab Fee. That's what I want to do. And then getting Celadon into it and then jumbo size. That's a great idea. I'll probably work Fab Celadon separate from the jumbos. Okay, cool. Very cool. And then she says, once I have both lines decent, I'll cross the two to get the end result I want. Excellent plan. Excellent plan. Watkins Wildlife says, we are now trying to breed our biggest birds. Yeah, if we're making a jumbo line, that's an excellent way of doing it. Mark says, hi Lauren, that's my goal minus the Celadon. Watkins Wildlife, do the egg weight translate to bird size? No. I used to think that it did. I thought, that a larger egg would produce a larger chick. But after talking with, some of the more experienced breeders and the genetics experts, they say it has absolutely nothing to do with it. Corey says, do they have to be inside? Could I put the cage outside? As long as your cage is predator proof, there's no way for any predators to get into it. I wouldn't recommend using like this 1x2 wire outdoors, especially if you have animals like raccoons and rats and everything. They can actually reach through the wire and pull the birds through the wire. So the best bet is using like a 1/2x1/2 hardware cloth outdoors. That's going to keep most of the stuff out of the cage. But yeah, you can use your cages outside. Just make sure they're predator proof. And if you put an egg roll out on it, make sure you put a cover over it. That's one spot that they can easily get into. Brad Davis says, what's the best way of breeding it? Breeding, is it like father, daughter, and can you breed sister, brother? For example, I would stay away from breeding siblings to each other, but father, daughter, or mother to son, that's totally fine. A lot of people do that to enhance a trait. Yeah, absolutely. Lauren's talking to Mark. Live in Texas says, I hope to order some eggs Monday. What Coturnix jumbo breed would be sexable shortly after hatching? If you're just getting started, I would start out with jumbo pharaohs, because what you can do with them is you can actually breed, or you can go with Egyptians if you want, if you can find an Egyptian jumbo line. But I would start out with jumbo pharaohs. They're feather sexable at 2.5 to 3 weeks. But if you went with the Egyptians, you can feather sex them right out of the egg. So. Let's see, Tim says, I have 10 quail, a mix of 3 sparklies. I was thinking about breeding back to the males of the 3 different colors to get a 3-clan system for spiral breeding. Good idea. Just breeding for eggs and meat now. So yeah, yeah, something like what Tim's doing. You know, a lot of people, if they're just breeding for eggs and meat, they don't really worry too much about, you know, genetics or clean lines. All I would do, though, if you're going to do that, if you are deciding to sell hatching eggs, you know, be upfront, be honest with people what you're selling them. You know, just let them know that, you know, your stuff is mixed. That way they don't introduce it into their stuff. I've seen so many people that I've talked to over the past 2 years saying that, you know, they bought eggs from a certain breeder and hatched them out and ended up having to cull the entire line because they were mixed. And yeah, that can be, you know, it can be, you know, time consuming and get kind of expensive. Okay, Lauren answered that. Very good. Watkins Wildlife, we would like to say, hey everyone from Lenore City, Tennessee. Okay, welcome. James Dahlheim's in the house. Hey, all, did I miss much? Not really, and you can always go back and watch it. Wow, we got quite a few people in here for being a Saturday. I didn't think it would be that busy tonight. Lauren says, not much, James, just getting started. Tim says, audio went echoey when on the confirmation screen. All right, I'm gonna, just for my thing, okay, there's why we are going to unmute that and mute that. Tim, thank you very much. Hopefully, if you could let me know if this took care of the problem. It was trying to grab it from a separate microphone. Good. Appreciate that, Tim. That will help me out for next week. I won't end up with that mistake again. Let's see. Can you post graphics so we can print them out? Peg, if you go to Coturnix Corner Facebook group page, I believe they are in the files section. You can download them and print them from there. If not, comment in there. Tamara gets in there all the time. I know she posted them in there, and you could probably look through the images if you had time. You could go through all the images and you know, pull them out from there. Jeb Outdoors is in the house. Hello, Terry. Hello. Donna says hello. My first eggs were from Southwest Game Birds. Just ordered more from them, and also ordered silvers and scarlets from my shire. I think they start shipping next week. Okay. See, David says, I love the topic yesterday, and your approach to cleaning up the genetics of your lines was spot on to what I'm working towards: health, conformity, clean bases, clean modifier, then sustainability. Great. Yeah, you actually explained it better than I did. Thank you. Anthony says, hello, I'm in Lehigh Acres, Florida. Can I buy some live eggs from you? I do not wish to mail order them again. Thank you. Anthony, I am not selling hatching eggs right now. Maybe late spring. I'm just working on too much different stuff that I'm not actually selling eggs. Kim Ramsey's in the house. Dennis Peel says, hello from North Central Backwoods, Missouri. Did I lose you guys? I am, either my laptop is messed up or... can somebody comment if they can still see me? I am getting a blank screen over on my laptop, and I don't know what caused it. Is anybody there? Hello? Comment, please. I don't think. Message retracted. I'm waiting on Lauren. Lauren, can you see me or hear me? I am, okay, everyone says it's still good. All right, cool. It must be my connection on my iPad dropped out or something, but I still have the chat, so. Okay, Wemo says, I'm really confused on a review to leave for eBay. I ordered A&M whites. They have a lot of black in the feathers, which I don't care, but then I thought, how can I give a responsible review for the next? If somebody's selling you something on eBay that they're calling Texas A&Ms, they are lying to you. There are no Texas A&Ms out. You probably, if you've got some a lot of black in there, it's probably out of it, maybe, a tuxedo line or something. Without seeing them, I really can't tell you what it is, but just let them know, politely that this isn't what you said they were. Remo said, for me it was just a homeschool project, but it may matter to the next person. Okay, great. Donna says, for me, I'm just trying to get egg birds. I want to in the future do the breeding for color, but too much for me to grasp right now. I totally understand that, and it's totally fine. Just working on meat and egg birds. Like I said, if you are selling eggs, just be honest with the person you're selling them to, that these aren't pure lines. Jesse says evening from Northwest Oregon. Susan says hi from Vermont. Alan Floyd says, yay, just started first eggs any day now. Cool. Douglas says hello from Maine. Welcome, Douglas. Steve Gay says, I wish I could help out. I haven't pulled the trigger on any yet. That's all right. Once you get in there, you'll be having as much fun as everybody else. Mark says, I'm trying to work with making my Fab Feed Jumbo. Any brown markings in the bird is out. Nicely marked chest for female. For size, I keep working with upsizing my male. That's cool, Mark. I would take some of the fee that has the brown shades in it and breed it back to a clean one that's homozygous, and you should be able to pull some more out of there. Swedish Quail says hello from Sweden. Wow, that's cool. Welcome. Jeb Outdoor. Oh, my back is killing me, guys. I got to sit back here. Laying on a crooper all day does not do an old body like mine any good. See, Jeb Outdoor says, hello, Terry. What's your thoughts on putting quail cages and brooders on trailers instead of moving outdoor cages? What's your thoughts on putting quail cages and brooders on trailers instead of moving outdoor cages? I mean, if you're doing that to make it easier to move, yeah, that's fine. If you need to move your cages around, yeah, that would be a good idea. Dennis says greetings from Pflugerville, Texas. Greetings. Mark says, unfortunately, I called a couple of the wrong birds due to aggression, so that set me back. Yep, that'll happen. Unfortunately, that was one of my largest females. Yep, I know exactly what you mean, Mark. Hello from Nova Scotia, Canada. Shaduma, welcome. Donna Southwood says, howdy from British Columbia, Canada. Just got the wire to make a bunch more cages. Prices are sure higher since the last time I built cages. Yeah, nothing's cheap right now. Douglas Dishroon says we got 26 inches in Maine. Oh my Lord. Susan says some pallets have chemicals in them, so be careful. Okay. Kerwin Swift says, I asked for help identifying my birds, and Southwest Game Birds answered me on Instagram. Really appreciate the help. Yeah, Michael's a really great guy. I mean, he will take the time to sit down and try to help you figure out what you've got. I worked with him quite a bit. Why on earth is that thing still spinning? It's driving me nuts. Mark's talking to Lauren about getting the brown out. Yeah, Mark, that's just, I think I explained that to you a while back when we were on the phone. That's heterozygous. I would keep them as breeders, until you can start breeding them back to some of your homozygous fee, and that's going to produce more offspring for you. And then you can pull the homozygous ones out of them. Peg P says, in spring, plans to begin with meat and egg production. However, I don't want different colors all mixed. I want to really understand the conformation standard. That, to me, is probably the most important thing. You can always breed for color later, but getting your birds physically healthy, and by healthy I mean meeting the conformation standard, to me that's one of the best things you can do. Choo Choo's in the house from Cuba. Hey Terry and everyone, greetings from Cuba. Greetings. Salvador's in the house from Puerto Rico, I believe. Terry, can you recommend, this is from Del Choo Choo, can you recommend any non-Celadon English white breeders? You can talk, I don't think Naomi's shipping anymore, but talk to Michael at Southwest Game Birds, or contact Naomi at Kansas City Quail Farm. She might be able to recommend somebody for you. I know that she was big into Celadon, but yeah, you'll have to talk to them. S. McKee's in the house says, I have 3 generations in a community cage. I've seen that it is best to cull the older birds, but how can I tell who is older? I usually have my birds marked or in a cage. Most of my birds are all the same ages. Now, I don't know if this is 100% accurate. I heard this from Chris over at Slightly Redneck. He said that you can look at the beak, and on older birds, the beak's going to be a little bit longer. But I think that, I mean, I don't know how true it is, but I think if the birds are actually able to grind their beak down on something, you know, if there's something in the cage that would allow them to do that, that's what, you know, I would think that they would do, because a long beak to me doesn't fit conformity. But how can I tell who is older? I don't know. I know pretty much all my birds. I know, you know, which ones are older and which ones are not. Like I say, they're all in cages according to age. So sorry, I couldn't be more help on that one. Susan says, for newbies, should we sell eggs or meat or birds? You can sell eggs. I don't like to sell meat. And I really don't know all the ins and outs of it as far as what's required to sell meat for consumption here in Florida. But I do sell live birds to people, and a lot of people that buy my live birds ask me, can you butcher them for me? And I'll do that. I'm just doing them a favor and butchering them. So I'm selling them the live birds, but butchering them before they get them. So see, look at it, you know, how you want. Donna says, how much tilt do you need for the eggs to roll out of the cage? I have 1.5 inches in 20 inches. So, well, actually it'd be 26 inches if you count to this end. But from the back of the cage to this point, can you guys even see where I'm at? To this point, there's 1.5 inches of fall. Ben there says, I lost 2 quail to hawks, even with the 3/4 inch wire gaps. 1/2 inch hardware cloth is a minimum. I agree. It's funny because I had yesterday, was it yesterday? I posted on Facebook. I had a couple bald eagles flying around the backyard yesterday, and they were doing their little, I don't know if it's a mating dance or what, but one of them landed up in a big pine tree out behind the house, and I got a picture of it. Okay, Tim says, yes, it sounds good. Okay, so that's on that other page. Swedish Quail says, for this year, I will just breed clean jumbos. Since the Celadon appeared in Sweden, there are a lot of people selling mixed eggs and getting harder to get eggs without the Celadon mixed in. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Celadon. Klaus Marshall did a segment on the Coturnix Corner Live talking about issues with Celadons once you get into multiple generations. So, you know, I trust Klaus. I trust his research and stuff that he's done. So I'm trying to not introduce Celadon into my line, but I mean, a lot of people breed for Celadon, you know, breed for that color because, you know, a lot of people want the blue eggs. So. That's Mark talking to somebody else. Susan says, will eggs freeze in shipment? Yeah, they can if they are left out on the tarmac for too long, but I found most of the stuff that is shipped USPS, United States Postal Service. Probably for the bulk of the time, the eggs are indoors anyhow, and you're not going to have an issue with it. I've never had any eggs freeze, and I've ordered, right through the winter months from breeders all over the country. So, Betsy Lawrence says, "You're good here. I see you. We can see you. I see. Okay, good. Yeah, I still got a spinning thing over here on my laptop, so I don't know why that is, but yeah. Okay." Anthony says, "Okay, thank you. I'll keep in touch. Thanks for the education. I don't know if you're talking to me, but you are welcome." Terry, what is your opinion regarding buying wild-caught Coturnix quail breeders? That's how I got my first celadons, from a local trapper, non-U.S. by the way. To be honest, I didn't know. Well, see, you're in Cuba. I didn't realize Cuba had wild Coturnix. I know we don't. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. You could always do a test. If you're sure that they're wild caught, I would keep them separate from anything else that you might have, and just breed them and see what comes up, what happens, and let me know if they go broody on you. If they were wild caught, depending on your setup, you should be able to get some of your hens to go broody. Now, that's pretty interesting. That I did not know Cuba had wild caught. You sure the guy was being honest with you? B. Hudgens says, "My first eggs arrived yesterday. Spent 2.5 hours on the porch in 25 degrees. Do you think they'll be okay? Left on the counter for 24 hours and in the incubator now. Wait about a week, 8 days, 10 days, whatever, and go ahead and candle them, and that will tell you. But I would imagine they're going to be fine. It takes, you said, 2.5 hours. I don't know what the temperature was. Oh, 25 degrees, you said? Yeah, they wouldn't have froze until they got down below 32. So I would think that you're safe. Like I say, candle them, around 10 days or so, and you'll know for sure. Yeah, I can see you. I see you. I see you. We see you. I see you. I see you. Terry, you're good. Okay, we're here. We see you. We'll find here. Okay, we are oogling you. I don't know what that means. Okay. Donna Gaudette says, "By the way, the Coturnix Corner Facebook group are a great group of people." Yes, they are. They really reach out to help me to understand about the outbreak of avian influenza. I saw that post. Hopefully you can keep it away from your flock. And I don't know, I guess the outbreak is amongst chickens there in South Carolina. Lauren said, oh, she's talking, Mark, "I don't think there should be any brown." I'm asking Allie from Maine's Confetti Quail Farm. Are you guys still talking about the Fab Fee? Yeah, you should not be no brown. I wasn't really paying attention to what you guys were talking about, so let's see. Jen said could be English whites. I think she might be talking to the guy that had the eBay stuff. Tilapia Store said, "Terry, thanks for the tip. I had 70 chicks from AJ Farm Jumbos." You are really going to enjoy those birds. Those are by far some of the best jumbos that I've ever hatched out. And yeah. Mark says, "Please let me know. I'd hate to be culling good birds." Yes, always ask, Mark. Susan says, "Best method to dispatch." I use a pair of shears. Hold on a second. They are Cutco. And they're pretty nice. I mean, they are guaranteed for life. Never have to sharpen them. Anything happens to them, they'll replace them absolutely free. They are a little bit pricey, but they've never let me down. Okay, yeah, heterozygous fab feed will have some brown, so that must have been what they were talking about. Watkins Wildlife says, how high off the ground are your bottom cages? The hatching time cages are really low. The hatching time cages are really low, and I am in the process of building racks to put all my hatching time cages in to get them up. These cages behind me, the bottom of the cage is 36 inches, I want to say, off the ground. I don't have a tape measure handy, or I'd let you know for sure, but 1, 2, yeah, maybe 30 inches off the ground. But they're high enough to where I can, easily reach in there and actually get back up from it once I bend down. Farmer Brad says, hi there. Hello and welcome. What would a cinnamon colored bird be considered? There is a cinnamon line out there. What I would do is take a picture of the birds and post it over on Coturnix Colors and Genetics Facebook group page. A lot of people there can help you identify birds, especially if the birds got multiple mutations on there. There's people in there that can read through all that stuff and they know what you've got. So Farmer Brad says, in Indiana, I can process on farm if I sell directly to the customer. If I sell to a grocery store or wholesale, then I have to get state inspected processing. Cool. That's good to know for the people up there in Indiana. I know we've got something similar to that here in Florida, where we're allowed to sell so many birds. And I can't remember the name of the license. It's like a small poultry license or something. Mark the date on the cages. That must have been in response to the age question. How do you determine the ages? Daniel Morse says, my parents are not planning this year. I don't know what that means. Daniel Morse says, anyone breeding their own flock? Don't know what that means. Mark says, I won. All right, cheater. You're supposed to let the little kids win. Mark Wilson says, Terry, what's it cost a month to feed however many birds you have? Right now, I am way low on number of birds. I think there might be 100 between what's in the brooders and what's behind me. Maybe 100 birds, and right now it's costing me about $40 a month. It doesn't take much. No, I need to double that. See, 60. I would say $70 a month right now, because I buy 2 different feeds. I buy the layer formula, and then I buy the grower formula. But when I have 300 birds, I'm spending closer to $100 to $120 a month on feeding them. And what I try to do is sell enough eating eggs to cover my feed costs. That way it doesn't cost me anything. Mark says, okay, now I can pay attention here. Mark, you should have been paying attention while you were beating your son out of his right to his right to win. Jen says, I don't know what kudzu is. A really good for bird feed if you run out of game bird food. Okay, I've never heard of that, but thank you. Robert says, howdy from Virginia. If you have eggs that are light blue on the inside, does that mean that the hen is one Celadon gene? No, I don't believe so, because I get eggs that are light blue on the inside. To show Celadon, I believe it's got to be the entire egg. I don't know. That's a good question to ask people that deal with the deal with Celadons. I don't know. Watkins says, Terry, how many birds do you keep on a monthly basis? When I'm at full production, usually right around between 300 and 400. I try to stay right at around 300, but when I have a bunch of chicks in the brooders, it sometimes puts me up closer to 400. I don't know if I'm going to push it that far this year because I am working with cleaning up all my base colors. But I will be hatching out a lot more chicks than I ever have because I need the numbers to go through to where I can select the breeders that I want. Mark, that's crude. Let's see. I'm not even going to read that one. Let's see. Donna says, that is what I heard. From my understanding, they made a mandatory quarantine for chicken, no free range. Okay. Oh, that's the South Carolina avian influenza deal. Okay, that's good to know. Mark says, my 9-year-old daughter always wins. Mark says, I just ordered some FabFi eggs from HP. He says they are jumbo already. Fingers crossed. If you get them from HP, you can pretty much believe anything he tells you. I've hatched out eggs from him, and yes, very good stuff. I didn't even know he had FabFi. I contacted him wanting to know if he had any EB, and he didn't. Hudgens, I hope I'm saying that right. Hudgens, do you put anything in the water for the first few weeks? Thanks again. A lot of times I will mix, it's an electrolyte vitamin solution. I'll mix up a gallon of that, and I will offer that to the chicks until that gallon runs out. And then usually by the time they're, in the grow outs, I'm not giving it to them anymore. With exception of summertime, when it gets really extremely hot down here and I can see the birds panting and whatnot, I will supplement them with electrolytes. And that's mainly for my birds outdoors because the birds that are inside have air conditioning. They're spoiled. Let's see, I see you. Mark says, what feed are you using? My game bird starter is Purina. What do they call it? Yeah, Purina game bird starter. I don't think it's turkey or game bird starter. It's Purina game bird starter, and then my layer is a 16% layer formula that is. Oh, I can never remember the name of that. It's not the same stuff that I get at Tractor Supply for my game bird starter. What's the name of that company? They're out of Tampa. If I think of it, Mark, I'll text you and let you know. I don't have any empty feed bags here. I'd tell you. But the reason I went with the other layer formula is the stuff that I get from Tractor Supply. For some reason, their poop really stinks. It's almost like it gives them diarrhea, and I don't know why. Michael Parrish says, Terry, the AI positive case was actually found in a wild duck near Charleston, South Carolina area. I don't think there's been an outbreak in any flocks yet, to my knowledge. Well, that's good to hear. Okay, David Smith says, if it is a blue on the inside, it is a carrier of the Celadon gene. Okay, I've heard different than that, but I can't say 100% for sure. So, Mark says, so roughly $1 a bird monthly per 100. Yeah, that's probably about right. I've never done a complete, test on exactly how much they're eating and how much versus what I'm spending, but yeah, that sounds about right. Daniel Morris says, sorry, we are a family farm. We raise livestock, pigs, and venturing into fowl as a pet project. We grow a lot of grain. Sorry to waste your time. I don't understand how you're wasting our time. Family farm is fine. Whatever you are raising your birds for, that's fine. Susan Fuller says kudzu is a horrible invasive vine. Is that what Jen means? I don't know. I've never heard of it. Sorry. Why a Heritage Homestead says, any way to tell which hen is laying a shellless egg? I've got oyster shell available and they're using it. However, I've been getting a shellless soft egg every night from my 12-week-old layers. I would just let it go for a little while and see. It could be a hen that's just starting to lay and she hasn't, got the process down yet. I mean, I've had hens lay no shell at all. They just drop the egg and the yolk right through the wire onto the floor. I've got the little rubbery I don't have them now, I don't think. The little rubbery eggs, I think that's what you're talking about. But it doesn't, it doesn't seem to be continuing. It's like they grew out of it or whatever. Okay, Lauren's saying, this is what I thought. Light blue inside a shell doesn't mean Celadon carrier. Celadon's a true recessive, so it's not shown at all if there's only one copy. Also, Australia has light blue inners and no Celadon. That's what I had heard. A couple people, and I believe Perry Schofield also says the same thing. He was on there. V says, I've learned so much from your YouTube videos. Thanks for sharing your quail wisdom. You're welcome. I don't know how much wisdom there is to it, but I do share what I do, on the channel. Steve Day says, should I order eggs from 2 different hatcheries and keep rooster from one and hens from the other? I don't think you need to do that. Most of the larger commercial breeders have a diversified stock, and I would hope that when they are, putting that stock together for hatching eggs, that they would realize that. And no, I don't think you have to worry about it. I've never done that before. Tim says, do you have any biosecurity setups between your inside cages and outside aviary? Well, I'm the only one that goes in the aviary, and I got these big rubber boots, like concrete boots. I wear them inside, and I do not wear them in the shop here. And me and my wife are pretty much the only ones that ever come through my shop. When I have customers come by, they can come in the front room. They're just not allowed in the room here with the birds. Dennis says, I am just getting started and wonder what I can expect to get for eating eggs. I don't know. I guess I don't know what you mean, what you expect to get. If you have, just say you have 10 hens and they're all laying, you can get 10 eggs a day, hopefully, if they're all laying. The eggs I eat, on an average breakfast, I'll eat 10 eggs. I figure that's 2.5 chicken eggs. So, Mana Pro, thanks, Donna. Glad somebody remembered that. That's Mark. That's the layer formula I use, is Mana Pro. I'm glad you guys have better memories than me. Ben there says, my quail are 8 weeks old and I've only gotten 1 egg. Is it the food? I use a 30% protein. No, not necessarily. I wouldn't worry. If they're only 8 weeks old, they can be on the 30% protein until they start laying a little bit better. Once they are laying regularly, I would put them over on a layer formula so you can get that calcium levels where you need it. But just, give them a little bit of time. I would say if they're not all laying by 10 weeks, start looking into other environmental factors that might be affecting them. Daylight hours, any threats from predators, are you moving your birds around a lot? They don't like stress. They like, a routine. But yeah, they'll go. Lauren just said exactly what I said. Try switching to a layeration. They need a little more calcium than the starter to lay eggs. So there you go. Perry Schofield on the second. Yeah, Perry Schofield was on here not too long ago. You can check out that live stream. Where are we at here? Okay, it's only going on 8 o'clock, so we're not doing too bad. Johnny B. Good says, I have thousands of acres of kudzu y'all can have for free. Just come and get it. Okay. Lauren says, depending on the area, she gets $5 for 18 eggs. That's a good deal. David Smith says, Perry Schofield on the second or first time you had him on said that there will be blue on the inside of the egg. Just repeating that. I have no experience there. Okay, I did not. I guess I misspoke then. Yeah, I did not know, but I have heard, and I don't know where or from who, but I have heard that blue coloring inside the egg has nothing to do with them being Celadon layers. Wolbert says, I eat like 10. Yep, me too. Talking to somebody else. Susan Fullerton says, do they need grit? If all you're feeding them is a crumble, no, the crumble, they don't need grit. The crumbles are water soluble, so they can digest them, no problem. If you're feeding them, I've never given my birds grit, and I give them, treats. They'll get, cucumber, watermelon, whatever table scraps we have left over that's, healthy for the quail. I never give them grit, although they do get the occasional sand bath, and I have noticed, sometimes the birds will ingest some of the sand, so maybe that's them thinking that they need grit. I don't know, but I don't supply grit to my birds. Del Chuchu said, I've noticed that when I move young hens into the same cages as laying hens, they will start to catch up. It's crazy. Okay, I've never known that. Mark says, Terry, am I wrong? I thought a CE carrier will always have blue inside the eggshell. I could be wrong. I don't think so, Mark. And even Lauren mentioned too that inside egg color has nothing to do with being a celadon. I don't know. I don't know enough about celadon I had never looked into it. I'm not interested in them, so I don't know. Nong says, I am new and was wondering if you made your own cages or did you buy them? I made them. And if you made them, do you have a video of how to? I do. Go to the channel here on YouTube and do a search. There's actually 2 videos on making cages. One is on making the all-wire cages with the rollouts, and the other is making the all-wire cage as a grow-out pen. So, yes, there are videos on there. There's also videos on how to build wood frame cages. Kerwin says, my flock wasn't laying. I think it was my English Springer Spaniel running around the yard. That was the cause. They got used to him, and he doesn't bother them. Getting 17 to 20 eggs a day now. Cool. S. McKee says, I get over 30 eggs a day, and I put them in everything. What's your problem? I put them in everything I make for meals. Yeah, we do too. I love the eggs. All right. I think we are at the bottom of our list of questions. If anyone else has any more questions, go ahead and post them. Let's see, Mark just popped one in here. Selling eggs can be done as pickled eggs to sell them as well. That's another good point. Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can do with the eggs for some. You can sell them as hatching eggs, you can sell them as eating eggs. Like you say, you can pickle them, and there's so many various recipes of pickled eggs that you can make. I had a guy, he was in the shop here 2 weeks ago. A buddy of mine comes by and buys all my culls, and he said, I need to start pickling eggs, especially the jalapeno pickled eggs, and there are bars local here that will take as many as I can give them. Or not give them, but sell them. So I guess people like to sit around, drink beer, and eat hot eggs. So let's see. Wilbert says, how will I know when my hens go broody? You'll know. They'll start sitting on the eggs, collecting the eggs, might make a little bit of a nest. It's neat when you see a hen do it because they'll start pulling in even eggs from other hens. They'll pull them into the nest and want to sit on them. Lauren said, talking to Mark, not in all places in Pennsylvania, you have to get them processed. Yep, okay. B. Hudson says, anybody use Christmas lights for extended light hours? I do not, but Lauren says she does, so there you go. I know a lot of people that do. I've seen quite a few setups where people have Christmas lights on them. I think Klaus Marshall, he does the same thing. He's got a really nice cage setup. All right, Kerwin Smith says, Cajun pickled eggs for the win. Yep. I don't really eat pickled eggs. I've made them before, but I'm not a big fan of them. I can't sit down and just eat a whole bunch of them. Mark says, yes, some states are different. Mark from Rochelle Farm says, never had a pickled quail egg yet. I've eaten them, Mark. I don't I don't really, and I would rather sit down and eat, you know, a bowl full of hard-boiled eggs versus a pickled egg. I'm just not real big on, you know, vinegar and whatnot. I guess if they were hot enough, I might eat them. I do love, you know, jalapeno stuff and hot. B. Hudson says, Terry, yes, you are saying the name correctly. That's cool. Great. Waji is in the house. Says, has anyone done research on giving vitamins in the water for your hens to control wryneck in chicks? I think I seen that question asked over on the Coturnix Facebook group page. Or it was, maybe it wasn't a question, maybe it was a comment regarding wryneck about, you know, upping vitamins. I don't even try to heal or cure wryneck. I just, you know, call. But if I was to have an issue arise to where I was all of a sudden starting to get a lot of, you know, wryneck chicks hatching out, I would definitely start looking into other issues, you know, that might be causing it, whether it's, you know, vitamins. I've heard that you know, incubation issues can cause wryneck. Luckily, knock on, got a little wood there. I haven't had, I can't think of a case of wryneck in past year, almost two maybe. Del Choo Choo says, made my first beet pickled eggs today. We'll do a taste test in a week. There you go. Jeff Martin says, Mark, cold smoke, then pickle. There you go. That doesn't sound bad. S. McKee's giving us a bunch of thumbs up. Let's see. Do you guys have any other questions regarding the topic that we were supposed to be on? Either questions or, you know, comments, or what you would even like to see. Like I said, in the future, it's not going to be, I don't think we're going to call it the same you know, title to the live stream as we did yesterday. But in the future, I am going to do a video on comparing stock that I keep versus stock that I don't. And I will, you know, have examples to show you guys and explain why I'm not keeping them. A lot of times when I'm culling birds, I'll be going through and I'll, you know, if I find, say out of 50 birds, I find 4 that are super nice, I might cull, you know, 45 of them that they're okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with them. They would make, you know, good breeders, but I'm selecting right now the best of what I can produce to bring back into my breeding program. So anyhow, you know, we'll do something like that. Del Chuchu says the wild caught quail went broody. I noticed that she started attacking the male to protect the eggs. As soon as I moved the cage from place, she destroyed them, all of them. Okay. Yeah, I don't think they like being too disturbed when they're on eggs. Del Chuchu says there's a strong market for many wild-caught animals here. He's in Cuba, by the way, as they are used for some religious rituals. Wow, that's different. John Gray says, when you boil the eggs, you must constantly stir the eggs very gently so the yolk will be centered in the white. I only stir for like the first minute or two. I think the white, the album, I think that's what they call that. I think that, you know, hardens up pretty quick. And then, you know, you cook it longer so the yolk actually is harder. But Wilbert says, thanks so much for answering your question. No problem. John says, great. No worries. Must have been talking to John. Okay, we are, I hope it didn't holler into the microphone. I see that it went red on my end. So that's about it. I do want to announce, guys, this Tuesday on Coturnix Corner Live, I don't have a scheduled guest yet. I will be going live. I can't, unless I get somebody that calls me and says, hey, I'll come on the show with you and, you know, we'll talk about whatever. So I don't have anybody scheduled for this week, but we have a really special guest coming, not coming on the show, but he's working on preparing some material and some audio tracks that we are going to bring on the show. In my eyes, this guy he's right up there at the very top when it comes to genetics He really knows his stuff, and yeah, he comes highly recommended. So guys, I will be announcing that as soon as I get a verification and the content from him. I don't want to announce it and then you guys, say, hey, what happened to so-and-so? He's supposed to be on here. But yeah, it's going to be a really, really good show. I'm looking forward to it because I learn so much from this guy every time I listen to him or I look at his page. Lauren says, I steam my eggs for 11 minutes. I haven't had issues with off-center yolks. Okay, cool. Dennis says, how often do you change your breeders to keep from getting too much inbreeding, or is that a thing? Usually, like right now, I'm going to have to go back to where I was a year ago. When I was breeding for jumbo lines, I was replacing my hens on a yearly basis, and I was replacing the roosters probably every 6 to 8 months. And that was just so I was getting really good fertility rates, because then I was selling eggs, and also I was, my hens were producing a lot of eggs. But now that I've got a little bit different mindset as far as what I'm looking to do. I probably won't be replacing my breeders as often. As far as the hens go, now the roosters, they'll get replaced as better stock comes along. As I'm producing better birds, I will, yes, pull out roosters that are okay and replace them with roosters that are great. So yeah, it's an ongoing process, but we'll see. Steve Hogan says, thank you, Terry. You're welcome. Kerwin says, love the live stream, Terry. Thanks so much. Absolutely. Mark says, just talk to Lauren. Sure to reach out if you have any other questions on Facebook. Likelihood you are further along than me. He says, do you have any recommendations for a quail egg incubator? Absolutely. Depending on the number of eggs you're looking to incubate it, or if you're looking for an entry-level incubator, I would stick with either the Barado or some of the Brinzia models. The Barado has a series called Lumia. You can get that in a Lumia 8 or a Lumia 16. I believe the 8 will do 32 quail eggs and the 16 will do 64. If you want to spend a little bit more money on a Barado, either a real 24 or a real 49, you can get up to almost 200 quail eggs in the real 49. But it's a little bit more money on those. And if you do go with the Barados, I would recommend, or I would say that you don't need to order the humidity pump. You can manually fill the water reservoirs and get an excellent hatch that way. So yeah, either Barado or Brinzia. Talking to Mark, didn't think you were on Facebook. I'll try to find you. There you go. Mark says the Barato. Dennis says, thank you for all you do, or thank you for all you do for everyone. Very informative. You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Mark says, I'm thinking about turning an old camper into a quail barn for my quail cages. There you go. That'd be cool. Lauren says, I'm out, folks. Headed to bed. I'll be here Tuesday. Thanks for the great live stream, Terry. You're welcome, Lauren. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a moderator, and thanks for your help answering questions and stuff. Really appreciated. David Smith says, I've learned so much from all the knowledgeable breeders you have on your live shows. I watch them over and over, as do I. I picked up a lot of stuff from guests that come on the show. They are, great people. Jeff says, night all. Thanks, Terry. You're welcome. Good night. Mark says, document your build. There, absolutely. V says, thank you so much for answering my question. I'm a newbie here and taking notes. Perfect. That's the way to do it. Any hatching time gift cards today? No, Tim, that happens only on Tuesdays. Hatching Time and Southwest Game Birds are supporters of the Coturnix Corner live streams. And this is a new deal here. So I really don't... we're just not giving away stuff on that. Mark says, okay, see you Tuesday, Terry. All right, appreciate it, Mark. Thanks a lot. You have any issues, questions, whatever, give me a holler. You've got my number, so have a good night. All right, guys, that brings us down to the bottom, so I am going to read one more comment that just popped in. Bob Stout says, is it better to buy an incubator or build one? Thanks for your help. For the cost of building an incubator, if you build the one that we have on the channel, it's going to cost you right around $200 by the time you get your egg turners. By the time you buy all the stuff you need for it, it'll be close to 200 bucks. You can get a decent entry-level incubator, either the Brado or the Brinzia, for about the same money. So if you want to build, they work excellent. You can do 240 eggs in that incubator that we build on the channel here, and it works really good. Once you get it tweaked, it works really good. Mark says, if I ever figure out this YouTube content stuff, I'll start a channel. Absolutely. Karen says, I got a new Brinzia 56EX. It's been right on the money. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about the Brinzias. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to talk to them to see if I can get a model to review. And if I do, we will put that on the channel. S. McKee says, great live, thank you. Tim says, have a good night. Night all. David Thurston says, thank you. Or Terry, thank you. All right, that's it, guys. I appreciate everybody joining us tonight. It is 8:15, so we went, let's see, we started at 7, 8, an hour and 15 minutes. That's not bad, because I did say that I want to keep these lives down to less than 90 minutes. I don't like going over, I don't like 2 hours. That's just too much for me. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I am glad we got the audio issues worked out that we've been having. We will be going live next week, Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will post something over on the Facebook group page as far as a topic that we'll be working on. It might be watering systems, because I do have some work on waters that I have to do. It also might be keeping poop off your walls. So I don't know. We'll worry about that this week. So guys, thanks again for joining us. Join us over on the Coturnix Corner Facebook group page. If you're not a member there, apply for membership. We'll get you in. A lot of great people over there, and they're willing to help. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you Tuesday.